Oh, I'm so sorry. Moment to wander over here, hey?
Yeah, so,
oh, yeah.
I don't think who else would be yeah. There's some people from sales that I don't stay in touch with. But nobody from someone messaged me. They still have coaching.
Hello everyone, the vice president is on his way, so please be seated. The event is going to start soon.
I'm sure I
那个是正常的，然后这个是只是预备啊。
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here over at the Democratic Progressive Party. My name is Vincent Chow. I'm the Director of International Affairs here at the DPP, and we're very, very happy to work with TFCC as well as our colleagues from the Japanese press on today's press event. Now, the Vice President will be coming down very shortly, and I'll just go over quickly a bit of the we will proceed in terms of this event. So after the Vice President arrives, I'll invite my colleagues Thompson as well as organizations. Now, following that, the Vice President will be speaking in English in terms of his remarks. However, we do recognize that there are some colleagues here that may be more comfortable in reading or listening to Chinese. As a result, our colleagues will provide a written translation of his remarks in the interest of time. After this, after his opening remarks, I will invite him to return to his seat, and then we will engage in a question and answer period, starting with our co-host here, and then we'll lead on to other colleagues here in participating in this event. So that's about how we plan to engage in this event. And in the final about 5 to 10 minutes, what we'll do is we'll leave a little bit of time just for mingling, including with the Vice President. And, you know, we have styled it as a 茶会, which means coffee and tea. And so we do hope that you can partake in some of the coffee and tea as well as the desserts outside the door, and that there will be some a bit short time allowed for mingling at the end of this event. So thank you. Without further ado, I think we're just waiting a couple more, 1 or 2 more minutes before the Vice President arrives. Thank you again. Serious about managing everybody's time, because I had proposed that we do the translation paragraph by paragraph also. We'll just do the written part, and then in this case it's going to save 10 minutes. Yeah. Great. So let me introduce Vice President赖清德. Okay, so good morning again, members of the international media. Again, my name is Vincent Chow. Thank you all for joining us here. I'm particularly thankful again to Thompson and Chris from TFCC, as well as Siban Mingfu Shensen, who is representing the Japanese press corps today. So I've already gone through the introduction. So without further ado, let me first turn it over to Thompson from TFCC, who will say a few words. Now, in addition to serving as president for TFCC, he also writes for Nikkei Asia. So Thompson, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Vincent. Mr. Vice President, DPP officials, TFCC members and friends, and our Japanese friends, time is very precious today. I think if you look at the number of people in this room, we can tell that everyone wants to get a question to ask Vice President Lai. So I'll keep my speech very short. This is the first briefing between a presidential candidate and the TFCC in this very important election year. We are very grateful to VP Lai, Vincent, Elisa, and the DPP team for making this happen. I'm sure that many members and I are looking forward to talking to VP Lai. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, let me introduce another good friend of mine, Siban Mingfu, the head of Sinkai Shimbun's office here in Taipei, and he is here in a capacity representing the Japanese press corps. Please feel free to speak in Chinese or English as you wish. Thank you.
感谢赖副总统给我们这么好的一个机会。现在呢，这个台海形势是全世界关心的焦点，我们也来自本社的压力很大，让我们更全力的这个全面的这个报道台湾的各个总统候选人对 国际形势、对外交、对国防的全面的这个考量。所以说呢，今天我们有机会，希望能够聆听这方面的赖副总统的高见。谢谢。
好，谢谢施柏明副先生。Now at this time, I would like to introduce the chair and presidential candidate from the Democratic Progressive Party, Vice President Lai Ching-te. He has Hainan City, Premier and Vice President. Today, he will share his views on enhancing Taiwan's role in the international community. His opening remarks, again, will be in English, although a written translation will be provided. So please join me in welcoming Vice President Lai to say a few words. Thank you.
好，谢谢。沈周哈 ，and 石板明夫在场各位外国的媒体朋友，大家好。我今天非常高兴能够跟大家共聚一堂分享我一些国际或者是国内的一些观点。那应这个 TFCC 的要求，希望我致辞的时候能够用英文然后呢，日本的朋友希望我能够用中文所以因为外国的媒体讲英文的外国媒体比较多，所以我今天就用英文来致辞。那至于日本的朋友，我就比较不好意思，我提供我的讲稿给各位参考Good afternoon. Thank you, Thompson and Chris, for co-hosting this event with us. Let me start by expressing my appreciation to all members of the international media here in Taiwan. Your presence in Taiwan has certainly grown. This is reflective of the international community's eagerness to learn more about Taiwan. It also signifies the profound importance of peace and stability to people around the world. As all of you who live and work here understand, there is much more to Taiwan than just cross-strait tensions and regional security. Taiwan has a wealth of stories to report. We are a democratic country. Taiwan is also proud to lead the world in trade, technologies, culture, and innovation. These achievements are worth cherishing, but they also need to be protected. In the future, I will lead a new era of values-based diplomacy, a framework that sees our common values as our greatest source of strength. Under the principles of democracy, peace, and prosperity, I will extend our international cooperation, forge new linkages with global partners, and showcase Taiwan as a force for good around the world. Let me begin with the concept of democracy. During my recent travel to Paraguay and the United States, I saw firsthand the significance of the democratic values that unite us. I met with young people who had benefited from Taiwan's support in women's empowerment, education, and healthcare. In the United States, we are expanding cooperation in education, science and technology, international development, and humanitarian assistance. These are some of areas I will seek to expand in the future. Confronted with growing concerns over authoritarian influences around the world, Taiwan will present an alternative vision rooted in respect for human rights, democracy, and sustainability. Cooperation with existing allies and partners, while also pursuing new friendships with countries that share our ideas and principles. Second, We will act in tandem with global partners in support of peace and stability in the region. I closely followed the summit of Camp David, involving leaders from the United States, Japan, and South Korea, who reaffirmed the importance of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait as an indispensable element of security and prosperity in the international community. Through words and actions, the international community has made clear that Taiwan's security is of global concern and that peace must be preserved. These messages have resonated strongly in Taiwan. This shows that despite Beijing's best efforts, democracies are aligned in defense of our common values and interests. However, they also remind us that there is much work remaining on the path to peace. In an published last month in the Wall Street Journal, I lay out some of the actions I will take to enhance Taiwan's resiliency, this including building our defense, closer international partnerships, and exerting steady and principled cross-strait leadership. At the same time, my support for cross-strait status quo will be unwavering. I will uphold President Tsai's 4 commitments, which is framework that has enabled the world to clearly see Taiwan for what it is, a source of stability amidst the growing global uncertainties. And finally, I will bring to the forefront efforts to promote shared economic prosperity around the world, whether in terms of investment, trade, or technology. Taiwan has much to offer the international community. We produce over 90% of the world's advanced semiconductors. We are also a leader in industries ranging from precision machinery to textiles. All of these gives us a strong foundation to build closer economic partnerships. Even as Beijing engaged in unfair trade practices against our agricultural products, potentially in an effort to undermine the coming elections, we remain clear-eyed about our long-term prospects. We must continue to diversify our economy, reducing economic and trade risks, participate in supply chain discussions, and reinforce our industrial resiliency amid growing cross-strait challenges. All of this is not only in Taiwan's best interest, it also advances economic prosperity around the world. The embodies my commitment toward a globally facing Taiwan. Confronted with Beijing's promotion of the one country, two systems framework, we choose instead to stand united with global partners, following a principle of standing firm with exercising restraint. We will responsibly ensure peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. I wish to thank you again for your interest in our democratic elections and continuous coverage of Taiwan. I look forward to your questions in the time ahead. Thank you.
我们非常感谢这个副总统 ，Thank you, Vice President Lai. And before we begin the next session, which is our QA period, I would like to quickly say that we will have this section translated in a sense that if your questions are in English, our very able interpreter will interpret them into Chinese for the benefit of our many Japanese journalists as well as our domestic audience. If your questions are in Chinese, we will translate them into English. And that goes the same for the Vice President's remarks. So now, as MC, I guess I have prerogative in terms of asking the first person to ask questions. And to do so, I'd like to ask Thompson from TFCC to ask the first question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vincent. Vice President Lai, just now you talked about the importance of a value-based diplomacy for Taiwan. I want to ask, how will Taiwan, under your leadership, play a bold and positive role as a democratic power in this region, in Asia? For example, there are calls within Taiwan, within this country, to legislate a version of the U.S. Magnitsky Act and to reject the Burmese junta's upcoming sham election. Thank you.
好，那我们先等这个翻译。
赖副总统，刚才在您的致辞的。问的就是台湾可以在这个区域，在亚洲这边扮演什么样的角色？就是在您的领导之下，可以扮演什么角色？然后呢，就是台湾是否在立法的方面会有兴趣通过一个台湾版的这个 Magnitsky Act， 这个中文是叫做马格尼兹基法，然后就是。而且也想要询问副总统对于这个缅甸军政府即将举行的这个选举有什么样的看法？
对不起，我快补充一下，其实他这部分，我想 Thompson 是举例了，这几个议题并不是询问的部分是有关这台湾在区域当中的一个角色。
好，谢谢 Thompson 的问题哈。其实我们大家都知道，台湾的民主自由并不是天上掉下来的。台湾在过去的历史上也曾经是独裁专制黑暗的年代，那么经过台湾人民共同的努力，也得到国际社会的支持，我们才有办法一步一步走到今天民主自由、重视人权的生活条件。
So we all know that we should not take democracy and freedom in Taiwan for granted. Taiwan actually had a very dark era of authoritarian rule, and it was with the efforts of our people that we have been able to reach what we have today, and we have received support from our friends around the world. And I think that this is all owed to the efforts of our people that we were able to get here step by step.
那今天台湾的民主还有台湾的自由也得到国际社会的肯定。那么在这种状况之下，台湾有责任应该在国际上或是在印太的区域分享我们民主跟自由打拼的过程所累积的各项经验，也希望呢能够协助印太地区任何还没有民主而且渴望民主自由的人民一个方向。
So Taiwan's democracy and freedom has been recognized by the whole world. So I feel that we have the responsibility to share this progress of our democratization with the whole world and with friends in the Indo-Pacific area. We have a lot of experience in this aspect. And we also wish to assist any countries in the Indo-Pacific region that are not democracies, but their people hope that they can become a democracy. We would be able to provide direction for these countries.
那具体的做法是，台湾愿意跟理念相同的国家，跟自由的价值能够在印太或是在全世界能够更加普及。那至于刚刚说的这个法律，当然台湾是一个民主自由法治的国家，也是一个人权立国的国家。那么人权是没有国界的，我们声援每一个国家受到人权压迫的人民。那我们也希望每一个国家不管在什么地方，也都应该能够重视人权的价值，好好照顾本国的人民。那至于要不要立法这部分，我们就留给立法院讨论了。
So as for concrete actions, I think that Taiwan can work together with like-minded nations and also democracies around the world so that the values of freedom, democracy, and other values can become universal in the Indo-Pacific region and also around the world. As for the question about the Magnitsky Act, about a Taiwanese version, Taiwan believes in democracy, freedom, human rights, and also the rule of law. So I think that human rights transcends borders. So we support any region of which these people, their human rights are oppressed. So I hope that in the future we will be able to help and support these people, regardless of which corner of the world they are in. And that we hope that all the people in the world can be taken care of. As for the Taiwanese version of the act, I think that we will leave that to our legislative branch, the legislative yuan.
接下来的问题，我想请我们下一个问题，我想请我们日本政府代表石板明夫先生提问。
好，不好意思，我有2个问题。第一个问题是，这个赖副总统多次这个强调说自己会继承蔡英文总统的外交政策之中呢，您有哪些部分需要想是加强的部分？这是第一点。第二点呢，就是现在几个主要的总统候选人都提出了，就是和对岸通过对话来降低战争的风险这件事情。和别的候选人比起来，民进党呢和对岸的沟通和互信基础呢相对少一点。那么您如果当选总统之后，您打算怎样具体的和对岸这个展开对话和降低战争风险这件事情？这是第一个问题。第二个问题，关于日台关系的，日本的最近安田内阁不停的就是说一直提出要加强国防，特别是在日本的九州、南西诸岛要扩大自卫队的基地等等，要增加国防预算。对于这一点，您是怎么看的？另外一个，您也多次强调这个加强和日本的关系。那么您当选之后呢，具体的会有哪些政策？谢谢。
So I have 2 questions. My first question. So, Vice President Lai, you have said that you emphasize continuity of President Tsai's foreign affairs and cross-strait policies. Which areas would you like to add on or enhance in this policy? And second of all, we know that the other candidates during this election, they have proposed to have more dialogue with China to decrease the risk of war. And we know that the DPP might have less of a base for mutual trust with China. So I would like to ask what concrete actions can you take to decrease the risk and also resume dialogue across the strait? My other question is that Japan's Prime Minister has been emphasizing boosting Japan's national defense. For example, we have seen an expansion of self-defense forces bases in the Nansei Island chain, and also increasing the national defense budget of Japan. What is your opinion of this, and what concrete actions will you take to advance Taiwan-Japan relations in the future?
谢谢石板明夫的问题哈。这个蔡英文总统在过去，不管在外交、国防或两岸的努力，都得到国际社会的肯定。那未来呢，我会在相同的民主道路上持续壮大台湾。除了会延续蔡英文总统的4大坚持，那我也另外提出的和平4大支柱行动方案，以因应未来更加严峻的国际情势，希望呢能够维护印太的和平跟稳定，增进两岸人民的福祉，也符合国际社会的共同利益啊。那第二个，你问到的是，在野党当然他们目前是希望透过谈判交流来谋取和平，可是我们必须要特别留意到。在野党都是先接受一个中国的前提，有些就是9·2共识。那在这种状况之下， 失去的主权的交流跟合作所得到的，不可能是真正的和平啊。那我所提出来的和平四大支柱行动方案，就是在确保主权的状况之下，我们愿意敞开大门来跟中国进行交流合作，只要能够对等尊严，那我们愿意跟两岸来谋取人民共同的福祉啊。第三个问题，你问的日本的这个国防的这个预算跟国防政策的改变，基本上我们尊重日本政府他们国内的政策我们没有评论。那不过呢，对于任何一个国家在提升自己的国防力量，捍卫自己国家的安全，同时呢也能够关注到印太的和平稳定，我们都欢迎的。另外，台湾跟日本关系本来就非常深厚然后再加上都是民主自由、重视人权的国家，那我们都是邻居，也常常遭受到天灾地变，甚至传染病的威胁。所以几十年来，台湾跟日本的关系是非常稳固，或者是民间，或是企业之间，其实都非常稳固。那未来如果我担任总统的话，我们除了会深化这个民主自由人权的价值，以建立更紧密的伙伴关系以外，也会加强人民之间的交流往来。在疫情之前呢，大概我们台湾人民到日本去旅游了，一年大概有500-600万人次，而且还持续不断的增加。那日本的朋友来到台湾旅游或商务活动了，一年大概有100-200万人次。现在疫情已经过去了，未来我们会加强彼此之间的交流跟合作。另外呢，台日两国的经贸也屡创历史新高。台湾是日本第4大贸易国，日本是台湾第3大贸易国，贸易总额高达882亿美金。这表示说，我们除了过去传统产业的合作，在新的先进科技产业的合作也迈入一个新的里程碑。这一部分未来我们会持续加强。那第三个是我们也很希望，未来在整个印太的和平稳定方面，也有机会共同发挥力量，然后创造世界的共同利益。
So thank you very much for those questions. I think that we have had a lot of questions. So first of all, over the past 7 years, we have seen that President Tsai's efforts in terms of international affairs, national defense, and also cross-strait relations have been recognized by the entire world. And in the future, I will continue on the path of democracy to strengthen Taiwan. This is according to President Tsai's 4 commitments and also the 4 pillars for peace that I proposed in the op-ed from the Wall Street Journal. And as the global situation becomes more difficult, I think that we need to maintain peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. And also, we welcome cross-strait relations that are in interest of the whole world, align with the interest of the whole world. The second question, we know that the opposition party hopes to have more dialogue and negotiations, more exchanges in exchange for peace across the strait. But this pretext, the precondition for this is accepting one China or the 1992 consensus. So I think that if we lose our sovereignty, even if we have more exchanges and more cooperation, I do not think that that would be true peace. But my 4 pillars for peace is based on the foundation that we can protect our own sovereignty. So we have actually opened the door for more exchanges and cooperation across the strait with China. But this needs to be based on the pretext or the preconditions of parity and dignity. And we also wish to enhance the welfare of both peoples across the strait. And third of all, in terms of Japan's national defense and the increase in their national defense budget and also change in their national defense policy, I think that we respect it. That is a decision of the Japanese government, and we do not have comments on that. We respect their decisions. But I think that any country, regardless of what their policy is, I think it is good that they are trying to enhance or maintain peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. I think that this is something that is our responsibility. And Taiwan and Japan have always had very deep and friendly relations. We are both countries that believe in democracy, freedom, and human rights. We are neighboring countries, so we also face natural disasters, communicable diseases together. So over the past few decades, Taiwan and Japan have enjoyed very stable relations in terms of government to government, people to people, and even businesses in the business world and the private sector. So in the future, if I am able to lead this country as president, I think that we will enhance our partnership based on the values of freedom and democracy. And I also hope that we can enhance and deepen We know that before the pandemic, Taiwanese people enjoyed traveling to Japan. I think every year there were 5 to 6 million people traveling to Taiwan, and also Japanese people coming to Taiwan. We saw 1 to 2 million people. And now that the pandemic is over, we hope that this can resume and even increase. We have also seen that trade between Taiwan and Japan have reached new highs. Taiwan is Japan's 4th largest trade partner, while Japan is Taiwan's 3rd largest trade partner. And we saw that trade volume reached $88.2 billion US dollars. And this cooperation is not just in traditional industries. We have seen more new milestones in cooperation in terms of technology between Taiwan and Japan. And this is also something that I hope we will be able to strengthen in the future. And I think that we will be able to work together to join forces in maintaining peace in the Indo-Pacific region.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to open the floor up for questions. And I imagine there's quite a bit. But before you ask those questions, I would appreciate if you could state your name as well as your media affiliation. 我也希望大家如果在问问题之前，可以先提到自己的名字以及所属的这个媒体单位。Now, in the interest of keeping this gender balanced for now, given what we see up here, maybe I'll ask the third row. Yes, could you please state your name and media affiliation, please?
My name's Kathleen Coldwood. I'm a reporter from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Thanks for having us this afternoon. There will be a bipartisan group of Australian politicians visiting Taiwan next month. I wondered if you had any plans to meet with them, and if you become president and if you do meet with them, what your approach will be to securing a trade agreement with Australia and also Australia's support for your position on the CPTPP. Thank you.
您好，我是来自澳洲的这个媒体。那我们知道下一个月有一个澳洲的这个跨党派的访团要来到台湾，那不知道赖副总统您有没有计划要与他们会面？那如果您当选总统的话，您会如何来希望可以跟澳洲签署这个贸易的协定？然后澳洲是否 on trade and we also know that the second batch of negotiations are going on right now, and they have been going quite smoothly. And last month, Taiwan and the UK actually also signed an MOU on an enhanced trade partnership. This will allow us to boost our trade as well. So we look forward to also signing a similar trade agreement with Australia in the future, which we hope will be able to deepen our economic relations.
谢谢。
谢谢。Now, I'd like to maybe the second question, and again, if you could state your name and affiliation. Thank you. And just a quick reminder, in the interest of time, we'd like to keep the questions a bit shorter.
赖主席你好，我是韦忠，新加坡联合早报的记者。想跟您请教3组概念：一中原则、一中政策和一中宪法。目前您的民调持续领先和上扬中，若您当选总统，将是首次突破8年换党执政的台湾民主历史。那 根据您对台湾事实独立和自主性的坚持，为了本土政党长期执政和台海和平，您是否会考虑根据美国和国际主流社会强调的一中政策，就是没有否认中华民国主权，但也不定义两岸为两国，那以及基于中华民国宪法里的一中宪法来考虑进一步处理台独党纲，而不只是以台湾前途决议文来取代或覆盖台独党纲，而是进一步的冻结和处理台独党纲。我说的是未来您长期执政的情况下，会不会考虑处理这件事情？
So, Vice President Lai, I would like to ask a question concerning the One China policy and the One China principle. So, we have seen that in the polls over the past 8 years, you are leading in the polls right now, and we have seen that Taiwan government for 8 years now, and I would like to ask, in the future, would you move towards more of a U.S. One China policy, which does not deny the sovereignty of the ROC, but also does not signify two countries? I would like to ask if, according to the ROC Constitution, whether you would focus more on the independence of Taiwan and change it in your party principles.
是，谢谢你的问题哈。目前，民进党或者是蔡英文总统的政府，在两岸政策上面的主张是非常明确的，也就是根据蔡英文总统的4大坚持，我们永远坚持民主自由的宪政体制。第二个是坚持中华民国和中华人民共和国互不隶属。第三个是坚持主权不容侵犯并吞。第四个是坚持中华民国台湾的前途必须尊重台湾2350万人民的意愿。那么这个是目前台湾社会的共识。蔡英文总统在发表之后，台湾社会有做过民调，有80%是支持这样的做法。那换句话，这是台湾的共识。那未来呢，我也会在这个基础上面，也就是台湾社会的绝大多数的共识上面，去进行我们的外交政策，来确保台湾的权益。那第二个就是我要特别强调，因为根据事实，台湾是定期改选总统、副总统、立法委员，成各种不同层级的政府，然后执行公权力来服务人民，所以事实上就是一个主权独立的国家，这毋庸置疑啊，这是一个事实，这不是任何一个政策有办法撼动的。
So, I think that the cross-strait policy of the DPP and the government of President Tsai is quite clear. We follow the 4 commitments of President Tsai, which is upholding our free and democratic constitutional system, and that the Republic of China and the People's Republic of China should not be subordinate to each other. We also resist annexation or encroachment upon our sovereignty, and also the future of the Republic of China Taiwan must be decided in accordance with the will of the Taiwanese people. These are the 4 commitments. And I think that this is also a consensus in Taiwan's society right now. We have seen polls show that 80% of the people here in Taiwan society support this. So this is a consensus here in Taiwan. In the future, I will build upon this foundation when conducting foreign policy so that we can ensure that we can protect Taiwan's rights, our country's rights. And second of all, I would like to emphasize that Taiwan holds regular elections for our president, vice president, legislators, officials, mayors, and local government leaders, and they in turn serve the people. So I think that this shows that it is a fact that Taiwan is a sovereign country. This is a fact. It is the truth.
那未来我会确实是执行的，就是我刚刚跟大家报告的和平、 4大支柱行动方案，一方面增加我们国防的力量，第二个也增进强化我们的经济安全，第三个就是用民主、自由、人权的共同价值，跟民主社会大家站在一起，发挥威慑的力量，而不至于让区域的霸权轻举妄动。第四个就是在对等尊严的状况之下，我们很愿意来进行两岸的交流跟合作，大概是这个样子。
So in the future, I will act according to the 4 pillars of peace, the plan that I proposed. First of all, we need to build up Taiwan's deterrence. Second of all, we will strengthen our economic security. Third of all, we will stand together with democracies around the world based on the values of freedom, democracy, and human rights so that we can build deterrence and face risks, threats in the region. And fourth of all, we, on the preconditions, on the basis of parity and dignity, we are open to more exchanges and dialogue across the strait.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Catherine?
OK， 谢谢。我是英国金融时报的记者席嘉玲哈。我想，其实不想再问那个中国两岸外交，我想问民进党的问题啊。就是最近跟民进党里面的一些人在聊哈，就是可能也是一些年轻人在聊，感觉说气氛跟4年前的选举前很不一样，就是很多人讲说不知道到底哪里不对，可是就是好像都没有劲，然后就是没有冲劲，没有希望，很多自我怀疑，然后就是说外面批评民进党很多东西，事实上我们就是自己觉得某一种程度上面也是没有错，就是可能就是这个所谓的黑金方面也有问题，然后可能也有一些经济政策也出了问题，反正有很多人不知道新的希望要从哪里来，然后同时我们也看到很多民调当中，柯文哲尤其在年轻人这方面吸引力比您高。那我想知道，就是说这个你可以怎么改啊？这个选举就是虽然你现在民调是领先，可是这种真正让年轻人相信民进党的未来是从哪里来
？So I don't want to ask more about China or cross-strait relations or international relations. I'd like to ask about the DPP. So I feel like the atmosphere this time before the election is quite different from 4 years ago. I don't know, some young people might feel like there's no hope, and facing criticism on the DPP, we might even feel like they're right. So I would like to ask, in the polls, we have even seen that Ko Wen-je has more of an appeal to young people. And so I would like to ask what you can do to instill back the hope in the young people to believe in the DPP.
这个非常谢谢你宝贵的意见来谈民进党。社会不管是年轻人或是哪一个族群对民进党的质疑，我都有责任来检讨改进。那我特别要强调，民进党在1986年9月28号成立，是还在威权的时代，然后结合台湾社会的力量，一路打破党禁报禁，废除刑法100条，争取100%的言论自由。然后也冲破戒严令，推动国会全面改选总统直选，推动台湾的民主发展。民进党是一个有使命的政党当然我们也不讳言。那么在执政的过程当中，虽然会有一些成绩，也有一些做不好的地方，甚至有一些人出了一些问题。那作为党主席，就是秉公处理，我们绝不护短，只要违反党纪，那我们一定根据党纪来处理。 那另外一个呢，我们也非常希望国际社会能够，或是台湾社会能够看到民进党是一个有使命的政党，也愿意检讨改进的政党。那未来我会提出年轻人所关注的各项社会问题，不管是低薪的问题、高房价的问题，又或者是照顾小孩的问题，或者是照顾老人的问题等等，我会建立一套社会安全制度。未来我也会推动国家希望工程，一方面将台湾打造为民主和平的台湾，那也会打造创新繁荣的台湾，也就是用创新为驱动的经济发展模型，有别于以往是用生产要素或者是只是提高生产效率的这种方式，让台湾的经济可以蓬勃发展。第三个呢，我也希望增加对社会的投资，安全网，让台湾能够成为公益永续的台湾。那未来我们会持续跟年轻人对话，也会跟社会对话，把倾听他们的意见作为我们改进的依据。那也会把我们的作为分享给他们，接受他们的批评指教。我们希望能够像过往一样，民进党的成长一直都是得到年轻人的支持，所以才有办法持续不断的成长壮大，从在野到执政。我们希望能够找回过去民进党跟年轻人共同合作，为了这个国家打拼的这个默契。
So thank you very much for your question about the DPP. As the chair of the party, I see that it is our responsibility to reflect on ourselves and improve in terms of society and young people. The DPP was founded in 1986 on September 28th, and back in that time it was still under authoritarian rule, but we were able to have a movement in the Taiwanese society to, for example, amend the criminal code, the 100th article of the criminal code, and that ensure that we would have freedom of speech. In the end, we lifted martial law, and we have direct elections now. The development of democracy has always been our mission, and I think that the DPP is a political party that has a sense of mission. And I know that we might not have been doing the best in some areas. Some of our personnel might have had issues, but as the chair, I think that we will not protect any of our people or go easy on them. We will deal with everything according to party principles. And I think that we have also seen that we hope that the international community and the Taiwanese community can see that the DPP is a party with mission and that we are willing to reflect and improve ourselves. And in the future, I know that the young people, they might care about things like low wages, high real estate prices, childcare, and long-term care. I think that we hope to build a social security net in the future. That is why I am proposing the National Project for Hope. We hope to turn Taiwan into a democratic and peaceful Taiwan. We hope to turn Taiwan into an innovative and prosperous Taiwan. We hope that in the future our economy will be driven by innovation instead of in the past it was perhaps driven by these manufacturing elements or increasing efficiency. We hope that through innovation we will be able to give Taiwan's economy a boost. And we also hope to turn Taiwan into a just and sustainable Taiwan. We hope to invest more into the society and build, as I said, a good society security net so that it is more just and sustainable. We will continue to have dialogue with the young people and with the society. We will listen to what they care about. And this will be what we use when we improve ourselves. This will be what we accord our improvements on. And we will also share what we have been doing with the young people. We are open to criticism, and I think that the DPP has been able to grow and develop because of the support of the young people. So in the future, I hope that we can get back or find that motivation from the young people that in the past helped us grow.
总结来说，我的责任是带给年轻人希望，也只有年轻人有希望，国家才可能有希望。
So all in all, I think that my responsibility is to give hope to the young people. Only when the young people have hope does our country have hope.
In the interest of time, as time is already up, we'll open up 2 more questions, but we'll just make them very, very fast questions. I want to call somebody from maybe you, sir. Yeah. Because I haven't called on anybody in the back. Just if we could make the questions as short as possible, that will leave us some time.
好的，我是日本朝日新闻的。I'm sorry for the foreign media, the other non-Japanese media. My question is about related to Japan game. 昨天日本政府副总统也注意到，昨天日本政府开始排放福岛核电的处理水，然后中国政府极力决定限制进口日本产的所有水产品。台湾过去也经验被中国检举害中为由，限制出国分离等同样的措施。那请教副总统，对于这些中国的措施你怎么看？以及认为国际社会如何要应对这些中国的行为？谢谢。
So yesterday we saw that China restricted imports of mangoes from Taiwan, and in the past there has also been restrictions or bans on pineapples from Taiwan. So what is your opinion on these economic coercion tactics from China, and how should the international community respond to this?
这件事情的关键应该是日本政府应该要资讯公开，让日本的国人还有全世界能够对这样的排放动作有信心，有安全的保证，这个才是最重要的。
So the question also asked about the nuclear wastewater that is being emitted by Japan right now, and Vice President Lai answered that the Japanese government should make sure that all information is open and transparent, and we believe that it is in accordance with international standards.
这是另外一个问题。我知道，这个。
Okay, so next question, maybe you, yes.
好，我是纽约时报的驻台记者张简如敏。我们的问题是，就是作为民进党的党主席，然后您又多次强调您会延续蔡英文政府在军事外交上的一些政策。这样子一来，北京或许不会希望您在下一次的大选中成为胜出的人。那您认为，如果您当选，中国对于台湾这样的威慑或者是一种恫吓的手段是会加剧还是会减少？那如果会加剧的话，您觉得您要怎么样面对这样的情况？谢谢。
台湾，对不起。
As the DPP chair, you have said that you will continue President Tsai's foreign policy and also national security policy. So Beijing probably does not hope that you will win the next election. So if you are elected, do you think there will be more intimidation coming from China towards Taiwan or less? If the answer is more, how do you think you should respond to this?
蔡英文总统执政迈入第8年。在外交、国防、两岸的政策上面，是呈现的非常稳健，然后也寻求和平发展的模式，然后也赢得国际社会更高。国际社会也认为问题不在蔡英文总统，不在台湾，而是在中国。
So President Tsai has been leading the government for almost 8 years now, and we know that her international affairs, national defense, and cross-strait policy is very steady and works toward peaceful development. And this has been recognized by the whole world as well. And I think the international community understands that recent tensions are not because of President Tsai, are not because of Taiwan, but because of China.
台湾是一个民主的国家，下一任的总统由谁来当选来领导国家？必须由台湾人民来决定，并不是由中国或任何一个国家所决定的。
So Taiwan is a democratic country, and whoever wins in the next presidential election will only be decided by the Taiwanese people, not by any other country.
那中国当然会用各种手段来介入这场选举，但是如果他的手段成功，影响了这场选举的结果，那台湾的民主制度显然就会受破坏。
So of course, China will be hoping to interfere in the election with all kinds of tactics, but if they succeed, it will be an undermining of Taiwan's democracy.
所以我相信台湾人民会坚定的守护民主的价值，勇敢的决定自己下一任总统的人选。
So I believe that the Taiwanese people will not waver in their safeguarding of the values of democracy, and I believe that they will courageously elect their own next president.
好，谢谢大家。
Okay, thank you. This concludes our international press event today, and we were a bit over scheduled for that. I do apologize, but I would like to thank all of you again for participating, as well as the Vice President. Thank you so much.
好，
谢谢副总，
谢谢大家，谢谢，谢谢。
我最近试了一个东西，真的很有用啊，所以要分享给大家，那就是太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌。吃了2-3天，真的有明显的感觉。最主要就是睡眠的品质变好喽。那你知道这个睡得好呢，整个人工作就可以更加的专注，当然情绪也就变得更好了。因为太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，我才认识了这个克菲尔益生菌。它是由多支菌种益生菌所组合而成的，不但是能够维护消化道机能的正常运作，而且呢还有多种有益健康的保健功能，非常的强大。有台大教授专门研究它，把它叫做神仙的礼物。而您知道吗？有上千篇国际研究证实，克菲尔益生菌不仅是帮助肠道健康，肠道菌透过肠脑轴影响全身的器官，所以维持肠道菌种的平衡，这是解锁身体健康、精神健康的钥匙。对于帮助睡眠、维持好情绪，真的是很有感。也因为这不是药，有季节敏感、代谢困扰、关心恶性细胞风险的好朋友们，选择太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，做好日常的保养，身体轻轻松松，没有负担。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Feel Good， 请上快点购为健康下单，也记得输入推荐码，有额外的折扣哦。